cricket things. Episode 32 of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and as Charlie said, yes, this is episode 32 of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast, and it's our favourite time of the year because it is well and truly cricket season, so it's just wall-to-wall cricket today. So, yes, morning, Charlie. Good
morning,
to see you.
Stu. How are
Welcome
you?
back from your American adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Been a while now.
you haven't been on the podcast since then, so.
Chris Green.
No, Chris Green was after he's been
Oh,
back
yeah,
from America.
sorry. I forgot about that. But
I'm still dreaming about it.
yeah,
so,
I know you were still living it. And, of course, on the end, Coach Extraordinaire, Mr. Hamish Solomons. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you going?
Yeah.
All right.
Who are you? I'm not sure you introduced yourself.
I'm Stuart. No one really cares, really, to be honest. But of course, that was the dulcet tones of producer Nick. Welcome, Nick. Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you for being in the corner.
that was the least subtle don't forget about me.
You should have. I mean, there was one from last week or week before.
He's getting better at it.
Yeah, where he stood up and just waved. He stood on the table and just waved. Yeah, just waved his hands mildly. Look at me.
Jumping jacks.
Yeah. Since we've introduced you, Nick, could you do us a favour? And how can the wonderful people out in
of
the
course.
great wide world get in contact with us via our social media channels, etc.?
Well, thanks for listening to us. You're obviously listening to us right now, so thanks for doing that. Hopefully, you're joining us on YouTube, and you can see all of our beautiful faces at about 8 a.m. in the morning. We're on YouTube. If you want to reach out to us on social media, get in contact with us. Tell us things you want us to talk about on the podcast. We're at Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Center, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. Use the hashtag KSC Podcast if you're trying to get in touch with us. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, that's great. But if you want to listen to our podcast, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts /iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, KSCpodcast.com, or if you listen on another podcast platform, the link to our RSS feed will be in the YouTube description of this video. Take it away.
So we're everywhere.
Whoa.
Basically. All right, so let's get straight into it. So the WBBL season has been run and won. The Brisbane Heat have gone back-to-back in a massive effort. They beat the Adelaide Strikers on the weekend, on Sunday, in a pretty good game of cricket. Wonderful tournament, I thought. So first time it was standalone. The girls got to be in their own airspace.
What did we think of that?
Well, I reckon it worked out pretty well in the end.
Pros and cons, I guess. Do the girls miss out because they're not playing in the school holiday period? Or did they get a bit more exposure because it's not clashing
a little bit,
with the men?
I think they got more exposure.
Yeah.
I know, for instance, the broadcast partners were really happy with it.
Yep.
TV ratings were great, which is pleasing. I think they got, of course, they were just on their own.
Yep.
That's people when they were talking about the BBL, they were just talking about the women's Big Bash. They weren't sort of talking about the men's game. It was had its clear air. Sometimes when they do the double headers, the women sort of get forgotten about, and it's just more concentrated on the men. So that was nice. They just got that open space. They did it pretty well, and the fact that the games were basically played mostly on the weekends.
Yep.
There might have been there was an occasional sort of Wednesday night game or a Friday night game or something, but it was generally on the weekend.
Yep.
Carnival sort of type thing. So there was a few games going on. Over that weekend. So worked out pretty well in the end, I think.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of the way they structured it, because now it allows the girls to move on to WNCL and just focus on that. There's no disjoint between the seasons of WBBL and WNCL, and then a lot of those girls can actually go and play grade cricket now.
Yep.
Which I think is great to continue the development of women's cricket in this country. So, well done. What about, your sister's obviously a Sydney Sixers player.
Yeah.
Was she happy with how it all panned out? Obviously, the Sixers probably were a little disappointing.
No, obviously, in the end, I think, Sixers obviously pride themselves on being the best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
They'd made every final up until this year, and obviously the back end of the season wasn't what they wanted. So they'd be disappointed in how it all ended. Their aim was to win the competition, and they fell a little bit short on that.
Yeah,
so
obviously, losing a player such as Elise Perry is huge. But I guess those girls would be thinking, well, we've still got the firepower.
Yeah.
We should still have the firepower to be able to win games and stuff.
They have. They have won a competition without Elise Perry before. Their
Yep.
first win was without Elise when she hurt her hamstring, and they managed to go on and win. So obviously, losing a player of her caliber is massive for any team.
Yep.
And then it just sort of didn't quite work out. Unfortunately, T20 is one of those games where if you've got momentum and you sort of can carry that through and you can sort of keep winning, but sometimes it's also the other way. Sometimes if you have some bad games, of course they come round fairly quick. You can also get into the habit of losing pretty easy and just sort of.
Do you know off the top of your head what was the nature of Elise's injury?
She had shoulder AC joint injury.
Okay.
So she went for
going for a dive on the boundary.
Going for the dive, trying to take a catch on the boundary and sort of landed on an AC joint. And
I ran into the Sixers in Sydney Airport on my way to Melbourne a couple weeks ago, and I saw Elise was traveling with them. I don't know if that was before or after her injury though.
Did they get your autograph?
They did. I ran into Ash, spoke to Ash, got to meet Sarah. That was the first time I got to meet Sarah. They're good folks.
I think that may have been after. I think it might have been after. Yeah.
She traveled with
she traveled with the team all the way through because it was fairly sort of she was working pretty hard to try and get back and play. So
potentially going to be back for those last.
It was always sort
rounds.
of issue of could she play, but never quite happened. So
with that in mind, nothing taking away from the Brisbane Heat and the Strikers,
Brisbane Heat
and the Kingsport girls.
And the Kingsport girls. So Brisbane Heat were fantastic throughout the season. They obviously led by Beth Mooney, who had a fantastic season, scored a huge amount of runs at the top of the order. Again, performed really well in the final as well. It was not at 56. She had a fantastic season. Just a really good team. One of Kingsport's very own Sammy Jo Johnson in one over in the final against the player of the tournament, Sophie Devine. 4 sixes, just bombing them everywhere.
Just a lazy 27 off 11 rocks.
11, just lobbing them.
Don't bowl there.
Don't bowl. Don't bowl. No fours, all sixes. Hitting them out of the ground, onto the roof.
And the day before, similar from Grace Harris.
Grace Harris was similar before. So so Brisbane Heat were really good. Ashley Yanofsky's got them going really well. So congratulations to them going back to back. Adelaide Strikers had a fantastic season. Obviously led by Sophie Devine, who was a part of the tournament, who scored a huge amount of runs. Took wickets, was just absolutely fantastic for them as well, which is good. But they had good performance from everybody in that final. Amanda Wellington got them to a good total. She scored 55, which was good for her. But you've got the likes of Megan Shute, who was again outstanding for them through the tournament, taking plenty of wickets. So really good tournament. You can see year on year the skills. Are getting better and better. The competition's getting closer,
and the hits are getting bigger.
Some of the grounds now. They play on some of the smaller grounds. Sometimes they're not big enough. The girls can easily clear the fence. So which is good to see. It just makes it a much more exciting product to watch. And as I said, I know apparently the broadcast partners were really happy with how the ratings went with that, which is obviously important because it means that. They continue to want to put it on TV. They continue to publicise it and promote it, and which is can only be better for the women's game. And obviously now the focus in terms of sort of T20 is we've got a World Cup coming up in February and March, which will be exciting to see.
Yeah, can't wait to take on the Poms.
Yep, well, Poms, Kiwis, the Indians.
Mainly,
all of them.
Mainly the Poms.
Mainly the Poms. Mainly the Poms. Well,
since I was last on this, I've actually officially become an Australian citizen. So
that's
do I still qualify as a Pom or not?
Your accent tells me yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
I'm fine.
Especially when we're talking about if it's England and Australia, then yes, you're going to have to wear that baggage.
Yeah.
You have to wear that baggage. All right. Now, also, Australia's had a little warm up in terms of Test series against Pakistan.
Yes.
I say it's a little warm up because, well, let's be honest.
A few players that didn't really get much to do.
We only played with about 4 or 5 people, really, didn't we? Not many people did a lot.
I've never been a big fan of these little 2-test series or 3-test series because sometimes you think, well, what does it actually prove? But you couldn't have had any more tests in that
No.
particular series.
Not sure you wanted another one.
No.
But
Let's start with the biggest part of that, I guess, which is David Warner, 335 not out. One run for every time I mentioned how I've knocked his off stump out.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Well, no. Well, now he's short one, isn't he? Because isn't that the 336th time you've mentioned that you've knocked his off stump out?
Well, no. I did the Don Bradman thing and just stuck with 334 until today.
Right, okay.
And I'll retire on that.
I don't think you will.
No, I don't think you will. I don't think you will either, because I'm sure at some point.
I think it'll find a way to
I'm sure at some point
creep into the conversation at some point in time.
So, I mean, without sort of going through the most of the details, we smashed them.
Yeah.
But obviously, so encouraging in the first test, Joe Burns was back in, scored 97. Unlucky, obviously, not to make the ton, but good to see Joe back in and scoring runs. Then obviously you had Manus Labuschagne.
Just gone next level, hasn't he?
Just gone, absolutely next level. Yeah, so he scored, first 100 in Brisbane, then backed it up in Adelaide. So, two big hundreds as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was underestimated in the Ashes series, and people thought, okay, well, he's a new guy. Now we've worked him out, and Pakistan underestimated him as well.
Well, Pakistan just didn't work him out.
To be truthful, I just don't think Pakistan had the stock.
No, they were confident. They were sort of talking it up with the young kids, and they were bowling fast and whatever. But just being able to bowl fast doesn't really cut it.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's one thing to have exciting potential and young blokes and stuff like that, but they're playing at the highest level in Australia. I just think they got it horrendously wrong with their selections. Obviously, one of the big problems was losing Muhammad Amir, who decided, no, I'm not playing Test cricket anymore. And that was a tricky one because Pakistan kind of did the right thing by him and sort of left them in the lurch, in my opinion. Yes,
so that's a bit sort of disappointing because he's still only fairly young and
I think there's no replacement for experience, is there?
No.
In that level of cricket, and I just think
so
they lacked it.
Yeah, they had a really young bowling lineup. So
that's the sort of bowling lineup you take into a series, not underselling some of the other nations, but when you're closer to home, you've got that home ground advantage, which is not quite their home, but it's not far.
Well, no, they're actually playing. They're playing Sri Lanka in Pakistan.
They're brave,
which is good.
Okay. Let's move on.
Anyway, so that's encouraging to see. There's Test cricket back in Pakistan for the first time in 10 good. Years. So which is good. So obviously then you have Dave Warner, who had a horrendous Ashes series.
He was always going to do
average 9. Everyone was. I mean, he thought, and I think most people thought that once he got back home, he'd be pretty right, and he proved it. 100 in the first test, and then
3 of them in the
second.
In one innings.
335. You can say, Pakistan's sort of strong lineup, but you've still got to go out there, you've still got to bat the time, and you've still got to score the runs.
Sometimes it's easier to lose your concentration when you're doing it easy, if you know what I mean. So to keep on going and to pile on that amount of runs, you just can't deny that. It's an amazing feat.
Yeah, it just goes to reinforce the cliche, if you like, that form is temporary and class is permanent. You cannot argue that David Warner is not a class batsman, and not that many people really, if you look at the history of Test cricket, have made a 100. So that in itself is an achievement.
No, they're not scored every week. Plus, also from a player like David Warner, who you associate with attacking play, not necessarily has the game style that would give him the opportunity to score 300.
Yeah, I'm not surprised though. He has toned.
He has toned it down.
You've seen he's worked on that side of his game. When he has been in better form, he sort of slowed things down. He's not that sort of I'm going to score a century before lunch player that he once was. He's obviously decided that he's still got some boxes to tick, and probably getting those really big hundreds is one of them now.
Yeah, I mean his fitness is phenomenal.
Yeah, well that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's one of the keys to getting that big score.
That's a big improvement from sort of when he first started. That his level of fitness is outstanding now. That he could still be running, quick singles at the end of his innings.
So that was the problem when I played cricket. My level of fitness let me down when I got into the 30s?
10s.
Yeah, that's why I just try to hit boundaries. Yeah. What did you mean, age or runs?
Both.
Okay. With that particular innings, one of the tabloid stories that came out from it was the should he or should he not have gone past Don Bradman and Mark Taylor, their scores.
Well, and then the other thing was, should he have been given the opportunity to score 400 and break Lara's record? We're not here. I agree with Tim Payne. It was about winning the Test match. David was made well aware of what time they wanted to declare. So we had the opportunity, if he wanted to go and try and get it. But also,
that's a nice mission statement, is it? Could you go and get 400 before lunch?
Well, look, it's all about. I mean, it's about winning games of cricket. So
they had suspect weather on the horizon.
Yeah.
So they had to take all those factors into account. And the other thing is that you have to win the Test match.
Yeah.
Lara's 400, was that a drawn Test match?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you know, like,
I mean? It was the only non-loss of that series for the West Indies. So
yeah. So I don't like this talk about he should have been given the opportunity to break it. I mean, cricket is a team sport.
Yeah.
Yes, it's played by individuals, but it's got to be played within the context of the team environment. And that decision was made. I don't think it was.
I don't think Dave Warner's too displeased with the outcome.
No, he's still got 335 runs.
Batting average, and it was not dismissed. Batting average is looking all right.
That's why I framed that as a tabloid style story, because it's nothing but clickbait.
Yes.
I mean, Australia won the Test match. That's what's going to matter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the important part. I'm sure if someone said to David at the start of the Test match, would you like to make 335 not out? He would have said yes. He would have said, what about 401? No, 335 not out. No, bugger, I'll get a duck. So I think it'll be
a straight one.
I think it'll be fine. Another pleasing thing out of this Test series is the return of form of Mitchell Starc. I think he's come back and bowled really well. Obviously, he only played that one Test in the Ashes series. A bit of controversy over that. Why didn't he at least play the last Test as well?
I still feel we got that wrong.
Yes.
Over there. But in saying that, I kind of guess we kind of achieved what we set out to do over there. Although
we retained the Ashes, didn't lose them.
How are you guys looking at that series now? Yes, you've retained the Ashes, but it wasn't a win.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the World Cup?
England's name is still on the World Cup. That's what I'm...
Exactly.
I get it.
So, I
get it.
Like, when...
I love it when Stewie's on the front foot.
We hold them, we'll keep them. We took them back home. We've actually got we've got the original ones here at the moment down in Melbourne. So,
Oh, is it come over again, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
First time since 2006, because I was there last time.
Possibly for the last time they say. But yeah, so... Oh, look. You always prefer to win something, but look, we didn't lose.
What I meant by that is obviously you've retained the Ashes and that's a success, but like, do you hold it in the same regard as
winning the series?
As winning the series, like you've got the Ashes, and that's great.
Probably not so much because we didn't win the series and we probably had opportunities to do so, and we probably we weren't at our best in the last Test match where we could have won it, where we maybe should have gone to win it, and we probably didn't. We didn't really pick the right team to try and win the Test match. So
yeah, I personally was a little disappointed. I felt we over celebrated when we retained the Ashes.
Yeah.
And should have remained a little more focused on winning the series.
Yeah.
And look, they would have been. They would have gone into that last game. But I just got a sense that the pressure
just off a little bit, and so maybe you're just slightly behind a bit. But so obviously Mitchell Starc took 14 wickets in that series. Pakistan took 13.
Ooh,
as a team.
Yeah,
wow. So which is good. Mitch has made a few technical changes, which seem to be working. So which is pleasing.
Yeah, I suppose I don't want to jump the gun here, but are we keeping that exact same team for New Zealand?
Apparently, according to
Langer,
he says, the guys are going well. He would be a brave man to change it. They've had enough time between tests, so it looks like it will be an unchanged lineup for the first test against New Zealand.
Yep.
Which starts tomorrow.
Yep.
Australian time, Thursday.
Now
in Perth. So it's a day-night test match in Perth. So it'll be starting in the afternoon on the eastern states and finishing at about 3 a.m. or something like that. So it'd be good to be cricket on at night time. We've able to see most of it.
Well, that's your evening sorted, isn't it?
Probably not a bad idea because it's supposed to be about 40 degrees for 3 days in Perth. So probably not playing at night time. Not a bad call. What are we?
Thank goodness that they're not playing in Sydney just at this point.
Well, because you wouldn't be able to see it. Yeah, we'll get.
Oh, they were. Yeah, are you talking about that later?
We'll get to the smoke SCG, and the SCG. So obviously the Kiwis are coming out. They're the number 2 Test nation in the world. So they are ranked higher than Australia. They've just come off a short series against England. They've won 1-0.
Australia are probably in the process of repairing their ranking. You know what I mean? They're probably higher. What are we, 4 or 5 at the moment?
4 or something like that.
Well, you're second in the Test Championship.
Test Championship, yes, because we played. That's because we played 7 games, and everybody else has sort of played 2, except for England, who's played 5 and not winning that many.
I think you need to maybe take a look at the ICC Test of Rankings.
Yeah,
probably a little bit more of a fair indication of what's
going on. But so, what do we make it? What do we make of the Kiwis?
Love them. I got to say, I love the Kiwi
team.
They're a good team. There's something about them, and plus they apparently play very fairly. Didn't they get the Spirit of Cricket Award or something?
Usually, usually.
Under Kane Williamson. Good style of a chap.
Wonderful man.
Good cricketer. Great cricketer. And
great batsman.
You've got other guys emerging in that team. Like Watling's absolutely
BJ Watling, he's a gun.
Beat England by himself.
Basically, scored a double century. Can bat for
It's an England bashing day, this, isn't it?
No, we're just stating facts.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to agree with you there, Stewie.
Latham up the top is in decent form. He scored lots of hundreds, in Test cricket recently.
Yeah. You got
their bowling lineup is then you've got Ross Taylor as well.
Yeah.
Who is been outstanding for New Zealand over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Just gone past 7,000 Test runs.
Yeah, really, really looking forward to this series. I've got to say.
Yep.
Really excited about it. As far as who do we think will win? Got any thoughts there?
I still think Australia will win.
Yep.
You'd probably say so on home soil, but I think that New Zealand will give you a much closer run than they historically have.
I think they'll give it a good crack, yeah.
Just harking back to what you were saying about these 2 Test series.
Yep.
I really wish that the New Zealand-England series was at least 3 or 4 tests because it just, one drawn Test match and it's a 1-0 Test series win for New Zealand. Don't get me wrong, they fully deserved it. They outplayed England. But a 4 Test series puts a different dimension on it.
At least if it's at least 3 so that England have the opportunity to draw a Test match
essentially
or draw a series.
Essentially a Test series between team rank number 2 versus team rank number 3.
Yeah.
And it just sort of leaves you a little bit empty. And the English players would have been like, we didn't get the chance to redeem ourselves.
Yeah.
We lost the first test. We performed better in the second test.
Well, Joe Root gets a double 100, but England don't win the Test match.
Yeah.
England don't win the Test match. There was a bit of rain on that last day. I don't think there was ever going to be a result on the last day, but it rained, and they called it off. And so it sort of, just peters out.
I know. Well, I suppose the big reason behind a lot of this sort of scheduling with short Test series now is that the boys are busy and there's T20 tournaments all over the place and they're off to one place and the next. And there's no replacement for me for a good 4 or 5 Test series between countries.
Good teams. Plus, and that's why most teams don't really win away because you're not there for long enough. You can't,
adjust.
You get to the first you have like one short warm-up game, which is not really that great anyway, and you get the first test, and you might lose the first test, but then you start to get used to the conditions and get better. But if there's only 2 Test matches, you don't really have a chance to come back and improve.
That might be something, what we spoke about a few shows ago, in that they used to have the one-day series before the Test matches, certainly in England, maybe not so much over here, that gave that acclimatisation for the away teams.
A little bit. So they played 2020s before, and one day games before the series started. But you see, because the pitches are different in one day.
I think the big difference is you look at Australia when they were unbeatable in England.
Yes,
they would play a lot of.
No,
I'm going to change it. Like they would play a lot of county teams. They play a lot of first class games
just as a warm up,
right?
Yeah.
Then England dominated. And the schedules had changed, and they weren't playing those games anymore.
Yeah. You don't play those games, so
and the one series that England did win down here, they came a lot earlier and played the state games.
Played more games. Yeah, we turn up to India. Well, if we turn up, 2 weeks before we have to play the first test, we're not going to get acclimatised to beat India in India, are we? Not going to happen. So that's disappointing. But anyway, we digress. So back to Australia and New Zealand. So we obviously think that Australia will win. It'll be tight. New Zealand will.
Well, we're well known for our predictions. Have we got a prediction? Any draws?
Do you know what? I'm going to sit firmly on the fence, get splinters in my butt, and say 1-1. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw.
2-1 Australia.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2-1 Australia.
Yeah.
Does that come because is that influenced by the fact that you're both Australian, or you got to root for the home team situation?
As I wear my Sri Lankan shirt.
No, I just think that's what the result.
I think just Australia are in a good place at the moment.
Yeah. On the up, I think it'll be good.
Wait till Steve Smith gets a go.
Well, yeah, when he gets a bat. I mean, not coming.
If he doesn't get dropped,
not coming out at 2 for 400. I'm interested to see how Neil Wagner bowls for the Kiwis. Interesting character. Only bowls at about 130, but bowls like he feels like he bowls at 150s. Very intimidating, but gets lots of wickets for the Kiwis. So
there's a few people like that in Shires. He's
their intimidator bowling at 130, but man, he takes wickets. He's an interesting character. Yeah. So that should be interesting. So hopefully Trent Bolt's also fit for the Kiwis because he'll be important for them. I think they're probably missing a class spinner though.
They're probably missing a spinner, like you said.
They're missing a Dan Vittori.
Maybe a Hadley.
Yes, Richard would be helpful. Yes, he would indeed.
Remember, he just absolutely cleaned up Australia one series back in the 80s.
Yeah, it took like 9 for innings, 9 for 52. That's when I think that was the last time. I think that might have been the last time they won a series in Australia.
Yep,
we were pretty ordinary.
Bring it on.
No, bring it on. Bring it on. Right now. Speaking of the Australian and New Zealand series, obviously, we're all excited for the Boxing Day test. But the latest Shield game, the MCG, had to be abandoned. I think in like the second session of the day. Of course, it was a little bit nasty. It was a bit nasty.
Thank you, Tony.
That was that's an understatement.
When Peter Siddle is getting balls to leap off a length and hitting you in the face.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say that's a bit of a concern. Yeah.
Segue about the new helmet rules in there as well.
We'll get that.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this, the Melbourne pitch debacle at all, to be honest.
I've seen headlines and read a little bit about it.
So I think the sort of the background of it is obviously so that the MCG is in a bit of a precarious position because
it's been a bit of a road.
Well, it's been the pitch has not been great. So they're only 5 demerit points off being banned from international cricket for a year.
Ooh.
What earns that? There's a system for
demerits. There's a rating of the pitch. So if you prepare poor pitches,
right,
you get.
But do you lose double demerit points if it's holiday period?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you probably should check that out because it is Boxing Day, so you could be in trouble. They could be in trouble. So the pitch, So the pitch in the last Ashes series when Cook scored 200 odd, that was rated as poor. So obviously, it's a drop-in pitch. It's been a drop-in pitch for a long time.
There's one of the issues.
One of the issues, and so they haven't been able. The pitch hasn't been able to sort of deteriorate as a normal pitch would. They haven't sort of been able to get it sort of fast enough so that it's easy to score on, all those sort of things. So apparently, what they've done, they had a concrete base underneath it, and they've taken that out, and it's more sand based, which is what it's like at the Adelaide Oval and in Perth. And so the curator left a bit more moisture in it this test, for the Shield game, and he sort of went maybe a bit too far.
Yeah, he definitely watered it more, that's for sure.
Because I think what it was the ball was actually sort of leaving divots, and then they sort of dried out as it got hotter, and the ball was hitting those and leaping up.
So it obviously because they played for 40 overs before they canned it.
Yeah.
So it obviously wasn't too bad initially.
So I think early on, because like I said, there was more moisture in it because he's trying to get it so there's.
Yep.
It's a better wicket.
Well, it's more of an equal contest.
More of an equal contest because it's obviously been really flat.
Did I say contest or Qantas?
I think you said Qantas.
I think Qantas.
An evil Qantas. It sounded like
that's the aviation geek me coming out.
but I think he went too far. So they're sort of saying, well, look, at least we know that's too far.
Yep.
Just need to bring it back some way, and then hopefully it'll be okay. They also said, look, that's not the pitch they're going to use for the test match.
No.
I feel like I have a solution which will negate the need for a drop-in pitch, but it's quite a controversial one. Ban AFL. Ban AFL.
Well, that's part of the reason there's an issue.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's part of the reason there's an issue with this particular pitch. They drop the pitch in whenever AFL's off season.
Correct.
Because the rest of the year, they take the pitch out because the field's being used by the.
And so that's the same reason why they've done it at the new Perth Stadium and why they've done it at the Adelaide Oval as well. It's the same sort of thing. Luckily, the SCG is resisting.
Yep.
And Brisbane is resisting that as well.
The last time I checked, it was the Melbourne cricket ground,
I know,
not the Melbourne AFL ground.
Yeah, but unfortunately, AFL's got more cash.
I will just clarify that I'm not serious AFL fans. Don't get offended. Don't really want to ban your sport.
We're going to find out how many viewers we have in Melbourne.
Right. I'm a rugby league man, so I'm a little bit serious.
So
someone's got to be controversial.
Yeah. So it's... Okay.
Right.
Don't know where to go now, do we?
Sure. Well, again,
I'm not Melbourne.
Let us know.
It was a ridiculous statement, but I stand by it.
Someone's got to do it. Yeah. Someone's got to do it
because I'm a ridiculous person.
So it'll be interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what the pitch is like in Melbourne.
Yep. Stuart trying to keep it serious still.
I'm just trying to get us back on track.
Loving your work.
We could go anywhere.
So what do they do? Do you actually know the method where they do that? Do they dig a rectangle into the ground and then drop in concrete or sand or whatever?
So the pitches are sort of curated. So during the winter, the pitches are curated off-site. They're in sort of like, you almost call them like garden bed type things.
Sure.
And then as soon as the AFL season's done, the square areas dug out to a certain level.
Yep.
Gets them prepared, and then they drop them in.
I think they kind of first did it in World Series.
World Series cricket,
They grew a pitch and actually, funnily enough, dropped it into an AFL ground.
Victoria Park. Of course, at World Series cricket, they couldn't play at the test. They couldn't play at the test venues. Yeah. Originally, so that's where it started, and Melbourne was the first one to do it.
Yeah. Wonder how that deck played.
I don't know. I mean, So I was Adelaide now that it's dropping pitch is still considered to probably be the best cricket wicket in the country.
Yep.
So they're sort of getting it right with their dropping wickets. The Perth Stadium where they played their first test last year was considered pretty good. They were pretty happy with it. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's just whether or not sort of Melbourne was the original technology. Maybe it's a bit old now and they need to try and revamp it.
Is the varied weather in Melbourne perhaps a factor in the quality of these dropping pitches? Or do they keep them in like the greenhouses and control it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, look, to be fair, I'm not sure if it's in sort of a strictly controlled environment or they're outside in the elements as every other traditional cricket wicket square would be. So I think maybe they've got the groundsman. The groundsman now at Melbourne was the old groundsman at the Wacker. He's come across and so he's trying to obviously improve the square. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully, it is a good cricket wicket, and Melbourne don't lose international cricket for a season. Because I know Perth is pushing quite hard to get the Boxing Day Test. They want to get it over there. So we'll see how that goes.
You're going against the grain of tradition there, aren't you?
It's funny that I was reading about this MCG pitch this morning, and there's a quote on ABC's website that I think's real funny, and I think speaks to maybe some of the way that cricketers romanticize the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to read this quote. It says, "It is not too far-fetched to suggest that these itinerant pitches break the pact with nature, whereby a dormant square continues to grow and even thrive, often in its winter incarnation as a sticky mud pile."
True story.
How would you comment on a quote like that?
Most of it went over my head.
Yeah.
To be truthful,
we'd have to get it translated.
It's a bit early in the morning.
The gist of it sounds like that a natural pitch, goes through the natural changes of weather, and in the off season being literally a sticky mud pile, and somehow they imply that somehow that adds to the quality of the pitch.
It will. The integrity of the pitch for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
And that's been one of the issues in Test cricket is that it, particularly some of the Australian grounds, just everything was just becoming too flat,
getting
too
the same.
Much
So
same.
we're losing the argument against dropping pitches is we're losing the traditional identity of each individual ground.
Right.
Some grounds used to spin a lot more, like the SCG.
Like the SCG.
The Wacker used to be known as
fast and bouncy.
Really interesting.
And Adelaide was always a good cricket wicket, but
and actually the MCG was always a bit of a dead track.
It has been for a long time. So interesting to see how.
Certainly wasn't dead the other day.
No, it was certainly very lively.
Yep.
Now it's the Moore Shield cricket.
Yep.
New South Wales won again.
I don't know how they played yesterday.
Tough conditions.
In extremely tough conditions. Yes, if obviously anybody in Sydney or in New South Wales would know that we are currently being devastated by bushfires. And the smoke from those fires is pushing well in truly into Sydney. And Sydney was just covered in smoke yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was unreal.
It was the worst that we've pretty much ever seen it. And I was actually kind of maybe a bit surprised it actually almost even played yesterday.
Yeah.
I know I heard a quote from Moses Rodriguez this morning that basically sort of said if the smoke was slightly worse, the players would have been able to see the ball.
Yeah.
So that may have been slightly tongue-in-cheek, but...
Well, there's a couple of safety issues there.
Yeah, not just being able to see it, but...
You kind of need to be able to see the ball in cricket. It's pretty important.
Yeah.
But how about just your lungs?
Just breathing it in, yeah. So...
I thought I'd seen something from the past weekend where Cricket New South Wales had put out a piece of advice for weekend comps that said, if it's possible to cancel or reschedule in the smoke, to do it. So I was surprised to see, as thick as it was yesterday, that they were still playing at the SCG yesterday.
Yeah, there's some good pictures from the SCG of it covered in smoke. So yeah.
Well, some junior competitions on Saturday were called off. Some women's games were called off on Sunday.
Yeah, there's what I'm looking at now, and you probably won't be able to see it if you're listening. Obviously, there's
you might have to look it up.
But Charlie,
I'll describe it.
You describe it well.
There's a satellite live feed that you can Google and have a look at the pictures around the world, and particularly over Australia. The whole of the eastern seaboard is just smoke. I mean, that's cloud. Ignore that. That's cloud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But all this smoke coming in from the Blue Mountains, and it's blowing this way. What we really need is a couple of strong easterlies. And actually, no, that'll blow it inland, and there's more to catch fire there.
Yeah.
What we need is a lot of rain.
A lot of rain would be
a lot of
rain.
Well, just rain.
Yes.
Like how hard is it? Like it's for the last couple of days. It's smoky, but it's also
how hard is it? If someone like to write in and explain to Hamish how hard it is for it to just rain, that would be great.
Well, I've been to Seattle. It's not that hard.
Somebody
over there.
Please. Somebody please write in and explain to Hamish how hard it is for.
What we need is the Australian Space Agency to build a rocket test thing out here because they create hydrogen clouds that rain.
Yeah, I might not understand a lot about this, but one thing I do know is that when it does decide to rain, it will probably flood.
Yeah, it goes.
It'll rain a lot.
We'll
go one extreme.
But we need rain, so can someone organise something?
How hard is it to rain?
I read something last night as well. Steve O'Keefe talking about playing at the SCG in the smoke yesterday. He said it was like smoking 80 packs of cigarettes a day, but he also put the line in, well, for someone that's already smokes 40 packs a day, it now feels like I'm smoking 80. I'm like, well, don't smoke your 40 and then you're back to normal.
Who is he talking about?
Yeah.
Steve O'Keefe.
Does he?
I don't know.
Surely not.
I don't think. Yeah, didn't know.
Might have been referring to
someone else.
Another spinner.
Another spinner. Yeah,
we won't mention his name.
No, we won't mention
even though
his
you just did.
Did I?
Maybe.
Bip
it out.
Fine.
Yeah,
is there an issue with it?
I don't know, but it is bad. Yeah, it is obviously bad.
Yeah, and
with the smoke. Yeah.
It's not just cricket being affected. There's flights been delayed and cancelled, and it's just if you've seen the images of Sydney Harbour Bridge and you can't really see the other side of the harbour, it's pretty tough.
Oh yeah, my wife works in Darling Harbour, and just pictures from her office are just a huge white sheet.
Now also recently, Australia was looking for a new selector. And
have you applied?
No, I didn't. I should have. I mean, because they put a job advertisement out on Seek just to get people to write in.
They've pretty much got a ready-made panel here. If they want,
they should have just rung us. But Australia's new selector is George Bailey, former Australian Test cricketer, one-day captain, and long-time player for Tasmania.
Has it forced an early retirement?
I don't know because apparently he did play his last Shield game yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if to be fair, if it forced his early retirement, he was pretty close to the end. I would have thought.
Well, I personally think Tasmania need him.
Or is this
experienced
really
player? He got 80 last innings of last game that he played.
Yeah.
Is this a really covert way of trying to get a recall?
Yeah, he's picking himself. He's picking himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, well, so in his last ever innings, if you look it up how he got out, he let one go, and it jagged back in and took off stump.
Yeah. First ball.
Yeah. Yeah, let it go.
Wezega. They say he'll never get picked.
They're saying he's never getting picked for Australia.
Oh, Bradman got a duck in his last innings.
That's right.
It's all good, George.
You know, he's in this
do you like
company.
the concept of having a fairly current
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
You know, so he's fresh from the game. He's just been playing it. He's been around it for a long time. George seems like he's got a pretty good cricket brain. So I think it's good to have someone that's.
Do you think he should get sacked?
What?
I think maybe the criteria is like we want a current Shield player, which he was at the time. Now he's retired, so he doesn't meet the criteria.
So he's gone.
Off you go.
Off you go, mate. We're going to have to get someone else in.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't know. That's up for the selection panel. Maybe
but no, I think he'll bring a lot to the table.
I think he will. Yes, I think it's a good move.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it is. Yeah. Unfortunately for Wezega, his international career is over before it began.
Yeah.
I didn't even leave your first ball and it knocks you off stump.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it was a decent ball to be fair. It jagged back quite a long way. It started quite well outside of stump and you thought, yeah, no, I can let that go first ball. I don't need to hear that. And it jagged back and took off stump. So
now look, I'm not a big fan of the mainstream media, it's fair to say, but I do quite like this paragraph and I'm going to read it. Not since Jack Dawson's lifeless body drifted into a dark and watery abyss in the middle of the Atlantic have we seen a script end in such heartbreaking fashion as that which tells the story of George Bailey's cricket career.
Oh, man.
Great writing.
I reckon you're probably going to have to...
I think you may have overplayed that slightly.
Okay. Should I know who Jack Dawson is?
That's a Titanic reference, man.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Was his name Jack Dawson?
Apparently.
She'll never let go, but then she did.
To be fair,
she never let go and then pushes
and then she did.
I didn't watch past the car scene.
We know where your mind is. Anyway.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Titanic?
Well, I've never seen Titanic.
Well, because I knew the ending.
Yep.
Yeah.
So...
Got him real good that time.
I know how it ended. Well, we went to, just as a slight
spoiler
segue,
alert.
We went to Belfast where Titanic was built, and they always sort of say, well, people try and take the mickey out of us and say, "Hey, you built Titanic," and we say, "Well, it was fine when it left here."
Yeah, true.
That's true.
It sailed away from here.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, what should we talk about? Can I sneak in a tiny little bit of Formula One?
Did we? I don't think we chatted about look ahead to the BBL yet.
So
predictions for the men's.
The men's big bash is coming up. That starts
right around the corner.
That starts 18th of December, I think. That's coming up. So we've obviously got some exciting international players coming. AB de Villiers is coming out, which will be exciting.
He's signed
with the Brisbane Heat.
Right.
Dale Stein's coming out, which is good. Chris Lynn's decided that yes, he's only playing T20 cricket.
Right.
Because I'd been wondering.
Which I think we knew anyway.
Yep.
But yes, that means he's not playing ODI cricket or anything else. He's got bad shoulders. He can't really field, so he's just going to play T20 cricket.
So is there a chance of making the Australian T20 team? Is it dependent on his form?
I think he would have to have a good baby. Yeah, he'd have to be melting them in the Big Bash. I would have thought.
Just clarify, first game's the 17th.
17th of December.
Brisbane Heat versus Sydney Thunder. There you go.
There you go. At the Gabba. In Brisbane.
The Sixers have publicised the fact that Hazelwood and Smith will be available for some games.
Some point at the back end of the season.
Is that all marketing stuff, or are we going to see much?
You may see them a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it sort of depends on how far they get in the tournament, really, is how much they're going to play.
Yep.
But yeah, we're not probably going to see a great deal of them. We'll see bits and pieces of them. So... obviously, Melbourne Renegades are the defending champions.
Yep.
I'm not sure who you'd class as a favourite for.
It's too hard to pick, isn't it?
It's a bit too hard to pick. You sort of probably got to wait until there's some games played and see who's in decent form.
Yep. We got one of our young Kingsport ambassadors, Nathan Ellis.
Has signed up for Hobart.
Hurricanes, so very exciting to see. He's had some form in the one-day competition, the Marsh one-day competition.
For Tasmania,
so exciting to see.
If I'm not mistaken, Nathan Ellis also just got engaged. I think I saw on
congratulations.
Instagram he just got engaged.
One of the most pleasing things, and obviously it's great for Nathan, one of the most pleasing things that I've seen out the WBBL and now the BBL is King Sport being used more and more. And seeing it more and more on the TV. Yeah. Just sitting in Wenty Leagues having dinner a few weeks ago and look up and there's someone with a Noble Willow going.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's great. Now, one of the biggest criticisms last year of the BBL was how long it went for.
Yeah, I think they've shortened it.
It's still going, isn't it?
Yeah. So what tournament? The finals are coming up, right? It's almost ended, isn't it?
For 18-19.
Yes. Something.
Last year's tournament's still going.
Number one? Yeah. No.
This one goes till the 8th of February. Now, bearing in mind that the WBBL has been its own standalone thing.
Yep.
Are we going to have that same criticism again? And that we started the WBBL, now that's finished, now we're into the BBL, and that's going to go on until February.
Nah.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think so. Because now we're getting into it's the summer holidays. Now it gets into the
I think people are
off
just
and
now
relaxed and stuff. So
pumped. Yeah. They're pumped for the male competition now.
Yeah,
the ladies have done a great job, and I feel like we're ready for it.
I think so. I think there's a couple of those games. It's slightly shorter than it was last year, so it's not going to drag on.
Is it 2 weeks? 2 weeks shorter?
And on like it did last year. Yeah.
It went through to March, didn't it? Last year,
well, the thing I didn't like about it last year, it just sort of split the Sheffield Shield season up.
Well, I mean, it does it again. So obviously, they're on a break in the Shield season now until after the BBL.
But for not as long.
Didn't the BBL? I thought the BBL and the AFL were going at the same time last year, weren't they competing on the same?
It felt like it.
Yeah. I swear I saw a game of AFL and BBL played at the MCG at the same time.
Yeah. Now one of the
pitches.
It
went that long. Yeah. Yeah, it got confusing, but yeah. So hopefully just slightly condensing it, taking it, not having it drag on so long will make it a bit more exciting and
cool. Tips for the competition at this early stage? Well-known predictions.
I'll just look. I'll back the Sixers in with absolutely no face. Yeah, just pick
Don't
one.
touch it.
Hamish is going with the Perth Scorchers.
Fingerprint on the middle.
They've been pretty good. They've lost some.
Sorry,
get the cleaner out. They've lost some players.
That fingerprint has been replicated at a few places, to be truthful.
Perth Scorchers they've lost a few players. So it'd be interesting to see how they go.
I don't know what he
means
by that.
No. I don't know. We'll skip that.
It's on file.
Now with you.
Yes, and you're currently being watched. Yes, correct. Correct.
Don't go climbing through any fences, will you?
No. Dude. Charlie, who are you picking?
Well, just
pick someone
out of nowhere. Just Thunder.
Just Thunder. Ooh. Yep. With our very own Chris Green, who signed a long contract with Thunder.
Yeah. Longest in BBL history.
It's like a 5 or 6 year contract. It's very good for Chris. So
I enjoyed listening to him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's always awesome.
Yeah,
Chris is a great guy.
Yep,
good stuff. Right, so I've gone Sixers. Hamish has gone to the Scorchers and Thunder for Charlie.
Why not? Well, at least if one of the Sydney teams win, one of us will be right.
One of us will be right.
In picking the Scorchers, I'm backing the most successful franchise in BBL history. So I base my
lost their coach though. He's coaching Australia.
Yeah, they'll recover.
Lost one of their best players.
Who was that?
Shaw Marsh.
What's happened?
He's gone to the Renegades.
They got some good youngsters. I like what they've been doing with their academy.
No, they got lots of like.
Hamish makes a bold prediction and gets it cut down from under him in like 2 minutes.
No, Ashton.
It wasn't that bold. Wasn't that bold? Bold.
He chose like that.
Not as bold as me.
He picked it with his eyes. Yeah, I said pick one.
This is what I think. This is why you're wrong.
That's my point being is how do you pick it?
How do you pick it? How do you pick it? Yeah. So many games. Who knows?
And players come and go.
Yeah.
Someone could get injured, and next minute they've dragged in someone from Afghanistan or something like that. So it's hard.
Harder to do a wooden spoon prediction.
I'd rather make a one of the Melbourne teams. I'd rather make a prediction after a couple of rounds.
We'll come back and review our predictions after a few games.
Harder to pick than a broken nose. And with that, Nick, what's your prediction?
I'll back Chris Green and Sydney Thunder.
Yeah. See?
I'll back Chris Green. Yeah. I was almost going to pick them for wooden spoon, but I thought better of it.
Can I ask one question? How's the Crimson Tide going?
Oh man, yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked.
They lost in a heartbreaker the other day, didn't they?
We did.
Oh, I saw that.
So we had I would say our biggest game of the season was against the number 1 ranked LSU. We lost that game. That was a tough one. But then our rivalry is against Auburn, which is our in-state rival.
Yeah.
It's the last game of our regular season. And we lost that game, and it was just one of the most frustrating between very strange officiating calls and
sounds like an NRL.
Alabama, that was their game with the most penalties they've ever received in a game under their current coach. I think it was like 13 or 14 in the game. Yeah. It's one of those games that it just feels gross to lose. It's not a game that was like hard fought and we lost, a good game. It was just a real sideways experience, and so our season is over.
Done.
Our season's over.
You have a little taste of what it's like to support Tottenham.
Yeah, well, we had to win the game against Auburn and a couple other things to still have a shot at sneaking into the 4 spot in the playoffs. Yeah. And with the lost Auburn, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin for playoffs. So we've got a bowl game.
You've got it. You've got a new coach though, haven't you? Yeah. The special one,
Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Wasn't there one of the great goals of all time, individual goals scored the other day?
Heung-min Son. Yeah, Heung-min Son.
It was like watching under 10s soccer again, where just your gun player just weaves his magic.
Picked up the ball just outside our own penalty area, ran through the whole field and scored. It was a great goal. It really was. Just on the Jose Mourinho topic, I'm sort of 50-50 with that. I was really disappointed when Tottenham sacked Pochettino, the most successful coach that we've had in the modern era.
It's pretty. I thought it was pretty harsh, to be fair.
Yeah, a few months after he makes the Champions League final. Yeah. But then we bring in Jose Mourinho, who is arguably one of the most successful managers there's ever been. It's the first time Tottenham have hired someone of that pedigree. So I'm still on the fence at the moment. I hope it goes well. If he brings trophies, he'll be a hero. Well, if he doesn't, what the hell were we doing?
If he doesn't, he'll get sacked.
Correct. Well, and there you go. That's the football. I'll sneak into Formula 1 now. Lewis Hamilton, 6-time Formula 1 world champion. The season's over now.
He won another one.
Yep.
He won another one.
He won.
He did.
Incredible.
Does he play cricket?
I think he used to.
He might have done.
I think he used to.
He should.
He's got Caribbean ties as well, so he used to.
Because then we'd mention him on the Kingsgrove Sports Centre podcast.
Probably will. Yeah.
Well, funny enough, we do.
Yeah.
But yes, anyway, that short little Formula 1 thing, can't wait for next season. Stu, maybe we should go down to Melbourne.
Possibly we should.
Does F1 having in Melbourne?
The first race of the year, most years, is in Melbourne.
Ah, right.
I think there's only... since 1996, I think there's only been 1 or 2 where it's been somewhere else.
I'd love to see photos from a Stu and Charlie Bro weekend, F1 in Melbourne.
Oh, let's do it.
Just in because I might not be playing finals. Good news, Liverpool won this morning.
Yeah.
So they're through the last 16 in the Champions League.
By the time this goes out, Spurs will have either been hammered again by Bayern Munich or done something heroic. So let's see how we go.
You never know.
Can Liverpool lose the EPL from here? It's only me.
Shh, don't talk about it.
It's not like someone who knows what they're talking about.
No, don't talk about it.
11 points ahead.
I dare not talk about it.
He doesn't even want to talk about it.
It would be...
I don't know talk about it. It's only Christmas. It's only Christmas.
Which speaking of, I checked our podcast release schedule. Next podcast would normally come out Christmas week. I don't know what our plans are for that. If that's going to be something we do, so this may be our last podcast of the year, heading into the year. Got a brand new decade.
I reckon we do a Christmas special.
I thought about trying to pick out some highlights, maybe, and put that together. A tiny little, it'd be a lot of work for me.
We'll just play this one again because this has been a highlight.
It has been a good one. It has been a good one, and I think we're coming to an end of our time. So I'm gonna start.
I think so. I've got to go work.
Music.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
So do I.
I've got to go further.
Well, once again, guys, thanks for joining us on YouTube here. Or if you want to reach us, reach out to us. Talk to us about things you want to hear, have questions or comments for the podcast, please reach out to us on Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Center, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. Use the hashtag KSC Podcast, and thanks for joining us. So,
absolutely.
Say your...
If we don't say you, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the next decade.